Hey, what's up, studs, and welcome to Ask MandR episode 322. On this episode, we've got some thrilling topics that don't include the Mr. Beast drama because nobody asked. That means this video won't be getting millions of views like everyone else talking about the Mr. Beast drama. Anyway, first question from Yankees fan One Sham says, what is the most overpriced LEGO Star Wars set on the secondary market? And I think most people would immediately drift to like UCS, or not really UCS, but Cloud City from 2003. That set originally cost $100 and is now worth between $5,000 and $10,000, brand new, sealed in the box. It's absolutely insane. It's almost objectively overpriced, but that's what the market has priced it at. I actually have a really good answer for this that I think is the true answer of what the most overpriced set on the secondary market is, and that is the 10018 Darth Maul bust. Originally about $150, now about $3,500 on the secondary market. I actually kind of slightly mentioned that I paid $3,500 for mine, but that set, unlike Cloud City, doesn't have an exclusive minifigure or minifigures. It doesn't have any exclusive parts that you couldn't get in any other sets, or exclusive parts in unique colors, whatever. But the Darth Maul is something that you can build out of parts through Bricklink or other websites for under $1,000 pretty easily with all brand new parts. So what I really paid for, and what many people are, I don't know, many's not a great description. There aren't many people buying UCS Darth Mauls at this point, but the people that are buying it brand new in that sealed box are paying for the sealed box, for the box, and for the instruction manual an extra like $2,500 more than they would have to just to get like the thing that looks like it does behind me. Like if you just wanted that, you can get that. If you wanted it to come in the box, that'll be an extra $2,000, sir. Like, it's an insane markup just to have that experience. There are a couple of relatively expensive parts with some cylindrical parts that are on the bottom of him. They might be $20 a piece, but in the scheme of things, compared to what the set actually costs, that $20 a piece is nothing because there's only a few of them. Tyler Baker says, what minifigure are you most surprised that LEGO hasn't made for Star Wars yet? Technically, they've made this, but they only gave it to like George Lucas and maybe like a few other people. But the George Lucas LEGO Star Wars minifigure is something that I really want to see. Technically, it's not a character from Star Wars, but he's as attached to Star Wars as anyone can be, right? And if the rumors hold true for 2025, we might actually finally get it. I do think it is the most overdue, most popular, desirable thing. I mean, there's a lot of desirable things they haven't made, like certain clone troopers, certain figures from the original trilogy, which they finally made one recently in 9nub that people had been wanting. But I think overall popularity, what people know the most, George Lucas has got to be top of the list. They've done other director creators as figures, and so to me, like, George Lucas is a very sensible thing, especially because he seemed to really like the Lego company, and that's part of the reason that LEGO Star Wars existed. And they've made, like, it was in the $150 book, like a giant bust of his face for him. Like, he must like LEGO in some capacity, so I'm surprised they haven't put it out in anything mainstream. Cylon has what might be one of the best worded questions in Ask Him in our history. He says, what is your nightmare battle pack, era, figs, build, etc.? And I think this is something that has a slight bit of recency bias to it, but I also don't think it's a bad answer at all. And of course, named characters in battle packs are something I'm pretty much entirely against. I don't want to see that. The bounty hunter one is more okay because it's not going to be a set you're going to want to buy multiple of. There's not a massable troop within that set that makes it not make sense. The only bad thing about the bounty hunter battle pack is just they called it a battle pack and they just shouldn't have. It just should have been bounty hunter figure pack or whatever. I'm just like, that's a nuance to it that doesn't really matter, but it does, but it doesn't. And that's besides the point. When you have a case like the 332nd battle pack, that's something that you are going to want to buy multiples of, but you're also going to end up with like 10 Vons. And so what should have happened with the Von and 332nd troopers is that Von should have come in the AAT a couple years earlier, and then they should have put a 332nd trooper in that set to begin with alongside Von, but the 332nd battle pack should have come out as a 332nd battle pack, or a 332nd with White Phase 2 clones, or 332nd with 501st, or 332nd versus Maul Mandalorians would have been my favorite answer to that type of battle pack last summer. I think that would have been a fantastic way to do it, but either way, that battle pack ended up being not as great as it could have been because they had to include Vaughn to get him into a set. Otherwise, they were just never going to be able to include him in anything else, probably. So, made sense to include him there from like a perspective of we don't have anywhere else to put him, but like he should have originally came out in 2020. And so we're seeing the same thing happen here with the Night Troopers, where Captain Enoch should have been in the Duel on Peridia set alongside Ahsoka and Thrawn and so on. But he wasn't. They put a regular Night Trooper in that set, again, much akin to the 2020 AAT, getting a regular 332nd Trooper and not Vaughn alongside Ahsoka. But yeah, that is my nightmare battle pack scenario that might just end up playing out. Like, I would love more Night Troopers. I would love Enoch. I just don't think they should be together in a battle pack. Next question from Mordor Brick says, I want to avoid set spoilers, but all my favorite YouTubers talk about the leaks. What should I do? Unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you other than I don't think there is much you can do. You're talking about trying to avoid listening to people or seeing people talk about, what's exciting, what's coming up, what they think is coming up. And you're just not really going to be able to avoid that in the Lego space. Like, that applies to Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, etc., etc. People like talking about this stuff. It's the exciting stuff. It's what's next, what's new. You might not vibe with that. That might not be where you are personally, but I do think a majority of fans do find it very exciting to talk about and know about what's going to be coming out in the next year, next 6 months, next month, or whatever the case is. And so there's just a fandom to it, and that's why the leaks get talked about, and it's just unavoidable. The only way you could avoid it is to be like prehistoric and not go on the internet and like look at pictures of Lego sets on cave walls. I just want to be realistic with you. All right, fellas, we're going to take a brief break from the questions to talk about today's sponsor, Opera. Opera is a free web browser that has been a very helpful tool in organizing my day-to-day life since I started using it. It sorts my tabs into these little tab islands, which has made it much easier to keep on top of my tasks. I do let my tabs run wild on my computer from time to time, so it's very helpful. Not only has it been a great tool for planning, but it also makes browsing so much more efficient with its built-in ad blocker and VPN that requires no additional fees or extensions that you need to download. My favorite feature, though, has been the video pop-out function. In case you're like me and you always need some sort of background video or noise playing, you can pin windows like Instagram or Spotify to the sidebar for easy access, or you can have them close automatically if you'd rather focus on something. Opera now also comes with its own browser AI, Aria, which can help you to write content, browse, and get information and answers to any questions you may have, like who's the best LEGO Star Wars YouTuber. If you want to try out Opera for yourself and upgrade your browser experience, you can download it for free using my link in the description below. Let's get back to the questions. Next up, from Minifig of Brick Street, he says, if Jabba has colored eyes in the sail barge, do you think he'll have pupils or be like Salacious B. Crumb? All right, here's the bad news about LEGO Star Wars minifigures. As of now, they're not getting better. If you don't like the pupilless eyes, don't have hope. It's over. Like, it's so over. It's not getting better until someone somewhere at the company has an epiphany that realizes, like, oh yeah, what we're doing actually just looks bad and we should change our philosophy on it. On page 110, minifig designer Madison O'Neill found, while reanalyzing things, that according to the official minifigure guidelines from the LEGO company, not just LEGO Star Wars, that this type of eye, being a colored eye, not just like a normal like LEGO human eye, should not have pupils, and that has to be carried through all Sith eyes moving forward. Now, it must also be applying to someone like Salacious B. Crumb, who clearly is not a Sith, unless this confirms that he is a Sith, but he's probably not a Sith. And obviously will probably carry over to a character like Jabba the Hutt. And jokes aside, this obviously doesn't just apply to Sith minifigures. We also saw it this year with Ezra and Thrawn and Ahsoka. I mean, we saw it in the past with Thrawn, and there are certain cases like Thrawn that I actually do think it can look quite good. But LEGO Star Wars is not using common sense with the application of this. But of course, it might be besides the point if LEGO, the company, is forcing them to do it. Using this as like a blanket, like it should apply to everyone and everything that has colored eyes, is dumb, stupid, and dumb, and it just looks bad for a lot of characters that a lot of people have waited a long time to get, like Ezra, like Ahsoka, maybe? Like, I don't know. Like, Thrawn, again, I think looks okay. Not so much on maybe Palpatine in a lot of cases. I just think it's really bad to be applying this across the board. It's obviously made Salacious B. Crumb look really bad. We've already had the leaks. I put up a Photoshop picture of him, and if Jabba the Hutt follows the same thought process, of course, he will also look just as bad as the others, and it's just not going to get any better until someone at the company does any bit of, like, real thinking and pushback of, like, hey, this is a really dumb idea, and we should probably not apply it to everything and try to, like, hey, LEGO, whoever's in charge, like, we're changing this. Stud for Dud says, do you think there will be a second wave of Fortnite sets? There's going to be a second wave of Fortnite sets like there's going to be an iPhone every year for the next 100 years. These Fortnite sets are going to sell like hotcakes, and it's not Indiana Jones where like they might have a change of heart and be like, well, it's actually too controversial for us to touch. Or Overwatch. Well, I guess it could be like Overwatch is also a video game, so if it turned out the company Epic had a bunch of like bad people working at it, I guess it could fall apart. But no, I firmly believe we will be seeing some Fortnite sets for years to come. It could be 3 to 5 years, it might not be a 10, 20, 30 year theme, I don't know, but it certainly won't be a one and done LEGO theme. I mean, we're gonna see a lot more from this. There's got to be a CMF line coming. There's just got to be so much coming from this. They spent so much, I think $1 billion they invested in the game. They've got the LEGO figures in the game. They've got LEGO Fortnite. And also, I didn't mention this, I think, in last week's video, but I've tweeted it at one point. I think part of the reason that Fortnite sets are relatively cheap, like feels like good deals, I think they're partially subsidized by what is effectively zero cost to them sales of like LEGO characters in the game. Like if you buy a Fortnite LEGO Clone Trooper. It didn't really cost LEGO or Epic anything to have and sell you and give you in the game. There's no shipping, there's no production. They literally didn't even bother to, like, for Clone Trooper specifically, but obviously other characters this applies to, but it's just a good example, to make any of the Clone Troopers actually armor match from one to another. Like, there's different styles in there. Like, some have helmet holes, some don't. Some have 2013 print style, some have 2020 print style, I think. You know what I mean? They didn't even bother to do any new artwork for it, which to me screams that they just ported some of this stuff from other video games. Now, I don't know exactly how that sort of stuff works, but I'm just imagining that's what happened. I just vaguely know that they port Call of Duty to, like, other consoles, and so it's like copying the asset from one thing to another. So I assume the same happened here with the LEGO stuff. Obviously, they'll have good profit margins on these sets, whether they, in, you know, LEGO Star Wars terms, should have been $10 or $20 more expensive each, but man, they're gonna kill it. And yeah, there will definitely be more. There's no way this is one and done. User says, I don't understand what you mean that 187th Troopers are non-canonical or not real. So yeah, in last week's video, I did say that 187th Troopers are non-canon in regards to the purple LEGO clones in the Republic fighter tank, which I believe is correct. I don't think that design of purple clone trooper is technically attributed to Mace Windu in any canonical thing outside of, like, a Hasbro toy, which I think is equally as non-canonical as a LEGO set, right? Like, Jedi Bob isn't really in canon Star Wars, he's in LEGO Star Wars form. Yeah, I don't know how you want to define that, but like, the 187th Troopers haven't been in, like, any real media, except for the other design of 187th Troopers, like the ones that you see in the Clone Wars, which in reality, like, if they wanted to make a 187th battle pack, they should make that. Like, they should totally do that. They should not be redoing the purple ones that aren't really from anywhere. That's my 2 cents on that. But yeah, you're technically right. I get what you're saying, and hopefully you get what I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure the purple ones that LEGO made aren't actually from anything other than an old Hasbro toy. Jerome But Green says, hey Goat, I was wondering if you plan on reviewing the new Pharrell piece by piece set. So I had no idea that LEGO was actually going to make a set for his movie. My understanding of it, I guess, assuming a lot of things, was that he got permission from LEGO to use LEGO as a medium for his movie, not that LEGO was necessarily promoting and helping produce or do anything with the movie. They were just like, yeah, you can do what you want. We trust you, whatever, go ahead, make your LEGO movie biop or what, I forget what it is, but yeah, you know, make your thing, right? I didn't realize they were going to do a whole set on it. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll review it necessarily. I don't know if I'll buy it. I did see the one comment I saw was like, we could have had a Kendrick or Drake. And I don't know, like, I don't understand. Like, I know there's like a bunch of like figureheads in there and it's supposed to be his friends or something. I'm not like in the know on who he knows or what could have been. If that is in the set or was in the set, I probably would have bought it and made myself do a review. But yeah, it looks really cool to me. It's a nice little display piece and big surprise to me. I had no idea that LEGO was actually going to do something for him with this movie thing. Ron the Pilot says, would the Akbar Trooper from Jedi Bob Starfighter count as a clone trooper to add one of to every clone trooper collection? I think so. It's got clone armor, so to me that's like enough to probably make it worth adding to your collection. It's not like it has some weird, wild, out of left field armor design that you could be like, well, it's just a random trooper or whatever. It does also seem to be based in the Episode 2 era. I mean, I guess the Akbar head is Episode 6, whatever, but the clone armor and the vibe of Jedi Bob Starfighter is definitely Attack of the Clones to me, so that makes it feel more like a clone trooper. And then in the new trailer they just released for Rebuild the Galaxy, they actually show that there are multiples of the Akbar Trooper. It's not a one-of-a-kind character. He's not like a named character in that way. There are, you know, clones of him, and so I think that makes him a clone trooper to me, probably makes him a clone trooper to you. We'll see how the show handles it, I guess, and maybe that would change the way we define it, but yeah, I think he's a clone trooper, or it is a clone trooper. Brody Smith says, can you show the new Star Destroyer next to the 2021 Moff Gideon's light cruiser? Yes, I can, because I won't be comparing them in any other video. Here we are on the iPhone cam on the left. We've got the Imperial light cruiser from 2021, $160 set, and of course the 2024 Star Destroyer, which is also a $160 set. And you'll see a little bit of shrinkage near the back end. I mean, that's if you compare the lengths, really, where the new Star Destroyer is much smaller. I think this is a fairly good angle where you can see the backside of the Star Destroyer. It's just not as big as the Imperial Light Cruiser, but it is a bit bulkier, just in general. It's slightly taller, the midsection feels slightly bulkier, and I would argue that the interior is slightly bigger. So you have the Light Cruiser's interior there, nothing too crazy. And while I also don't think the Star Destroyer's interior is anything too crazy, I mean, it's definitely, in my opinion, because you have this front section, a little bit more space. It's not as open feeling as this, as a realtor might say, open concept. But, you know, I think if you counted the studs, you'd end up with more in this set on the inside than in this set. So hopefully this side-by-side was of value to you. I suppose the obvious thing to point out here is, with 3 years of inflation and, more importantly, LEGO increasing the prices of their sets faster or higher than inflation, whatever, this set is going to be a worse value at $160 than this set was, but that's just how it goes. And I suppose this doesn't take into account the minifigures and how many there are and their quality or lack thereof, depending on the set and what you think about it. So yeah, we have all that too, but just shipped side by side. There you go. Zachary Adams wants a little behind the scenes here. He says, during a set review, is your commentary in the moment, or do you record over it later and react as if it's in the present? No judgment. In fact, I think you do a good job of making sure it is only your voice heard instead of background noises. So it totally varies. If you watch a review, the intro is clearly cut up a lot. Usually I record my voice for the intro and then I record the B-roll, but sometimes it's the other way around, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really change the way that I say things or do things. Now, when it comes to like the minifigures, I just sit down and talk about them like I would here. Like, this is my Jason Tatum minifigure. It's got the Celtics logo, and like I'll look at it, you know, talk about it while I'm holding it, and then I'll go back in after I've cut all the bits of me talking about it so that I know what shots I'll need, and I'll film the B-roll of like the Jason Tatum figure, the front, the back. You know, if I need to show a photo with his arm out or something, I'll get that too, right? So the B-roll usually comes after. So like when I review a set like Jedi Bob Starfighter, a lot of the time I'll put it in front of the camera, and then I'll have the microphone behind the camera, and I'll talk about it while it's in front of the camera and I'm doing everything, and like it's actually happening real time a lot of the time, with a few B-roll shots like interspliced. But for the most part, it's a big mixture of orders of operation. There's not really a one set way that it happens, although there are times when I will bring in a little bit of extra background noise, like when you see me unboxing the box. I'm not actually talking during the unboxing. I film the unboxing. I record the audio of like the box crinkling or the bags crinkling, so you can hear all of that just kind of, you know, slightly in the background, and then I put my voice over it. So big mix of things. It's never really one set way with me anymore. I used to, and I tell you, I do miss this. I used to just use my iPhone. I'd be like, hey guys, welcome to my review. This is my review of the, you know, Jedi Bob Starfighter. This is the box. This is the piece. Dude, it was so much easier. It was, if you watch one of my old reviews, even from like 3-4 years ago, you'll see how much easier, like you can probably pretty easily tell how much easier what I was doing was versus what it is now. Final question from Alexander says, do I think next year's May 4th promo will be Revenge of the Sith related? And if yes, what could it be? I think it would be cool to get a Senate repulsor pod with Palpatine and his 2 advisors. I love your idea. LEGO Star Wars hasn't done a promo with more than one figure though, I think ever. Some other themes have, but LEGO Star Wars isn't other themes. So I love your idea. I really hope that happens. Would be very cool. My May 4th idea for next year, I think I've talked about, is kind of a micro scale Jedi Temple with a Jedi Temple Guard. Temple Guard doesn't really feel Revenge of the Sith-y to me. I don't even think we see them in Revenge of the Sith, but I think it would be just a really cool May 4th promo, regardless of if it actually is technically Revenge of the Sith. But, it, you know, the temple is definitely iconic to that movie. I just hope it's good and has an exclusive figure. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. You can leave your question or topics for next week down in the comments section below. See ya.